Hello, 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 people. How are we all doing? Welcome one, welcome all. A little bit of a weird stream time, this one, isn't it? I don't normally stream at this time, do I? 2 o'clock. But we're here because we need to talk. We need to talk about how the Reds are gonna end this window. Because as it stands, we are still incredibly short. We're still incredibly short in midfield. We're still short in defence, arguably. And the window is closing in 9 days. It's closing in 9 days. Now, I still maintain the stance that I've had from the start. I will moan, I will panic when the window is shut. That is when I will panic. So before anyone tries to crash it on me and said, "Oh, you said you weren't panicking, now you're panicking." I'm not panicking. I'm trying to understand reasoning. I'm trying to understand. Let's get this off. Okay. I'm trying to understand why we are in this position that we are in at this point in time. So, if you're new not already, before we get started, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any more content. And let's just get straight into this, really. We'll start off with the midfield because I think it's the position that is most prevalent. And we got the report from James Pearce yesterday that we see Endo as a starter, so we were not looking for a specialist six anymore. Yada yada yada. Ultimately, I believe that's the wrong call. If it is true, I believe that is the complete wrong call. This team still needs a specialist six because it is so attacking in nature. It needs someone to balance it out. You can't have an 8 option in there because you've seen what having an 8 option there is in McAllister, and it doesn't work very well. You get cut through very easily. You limit certain players because they can't go forwards because of this, that, and the other. It's all very annoying. So the idea that we don't need a specialist six seems a little bit mental to me personally. But we weren't actually in the market for a specialist six when you consider everything. When you consider the names that we were linked with, we weren't actually in the market for a specialist six. So I don't know what the club is after. Ultimately, I believe we need midfielders. We need minimum one more. Because I don't think Stefan Bajcetic is ready yet for the role that we seem to want to put him in. I don't think he is. And it's not a knock against him. The kid is 18, 19. He shouldn't be asked to be playing 45 games a season for Liverpool Football Club at that age, unless you're Trent Alexander-Arnold, unless you're Steven Gerrard. You can't be expected to do that, especially coming off the back of the injury that he's had. It doesn't make sense for it. It really, really doesn't make sense in my eyes to put that much unnecessary pressure on Stefan. So we need midfielders in my eyes. Who do you go for? Well, there's been a multitude of names, as there's always going to be, because teams know we need midfielders. This is a chance to chuck names in the shop window, etc. We've been linked with a bunch of midfielders in the past 2 weeks. For me, there's about 5, 6 relevant names. There's about 5 to 6 of them. So I'm gonna go through one by one. Would I take them? Would I not? All this sort of stuff, because I just want to get off my chest. I feel it's a good thing for us to talk about. It's like therapy. This is like, Alcoholics Anonymous, but for midfielders. This is Midfielders Anonymous. We're all able to get off our chest what we think about the midfielders that we've been linked with. So we're going to start off with the name that I've probably been pushing for most, and I think that has been the most divisive in the past 24 hours, Doucouré. Now, Doucouré obviously played against Arsenal last night and disappointed many people. I look at it though, and I genuinely sit there and go, "What did you expect from the man?" Genuine question to anyone who thought he was bad, to anyone who was expecting more. What did you expect from the man against Arsenal? Because I looked at him, he was pretty solid defensively. It's not. I'm not going to sit there and say it was his best game because it wasn't. I've seen him play much better. But he also wasn't crap, and therefore one game shouldn't change opinions like that. Before the game, the notion was you spend 60 to 70 on Doucouré, that's a good deal. Now the whole notion is he's not worth more than 40. So what's going on here? Is he worth 70 million? No. But no one is worth the money that they're going to go for and that we're going to have to pay for at this point. Endo was certainly not worth 17 million. I will tell you that much. Endo was not worth 17 mil. but it's the situation you find yourself in. So I look at it and I see a player who was very solid on the ball, very solid on the ball. Had a lot of good moments taking it past Odegaard, held his own against the likes of Havertz and Rice when they came to pressure him. He wasn't wasteful on the ball. He kept ticking things over, which is what I believe we need in our midfield at this point. We don't need this is going to get into a little bit of a different conversation, but I think it needs to happen. People don't know what they want from our last midfielder. I think that's what I've figured out in the past day. Let me just open this because it's fucking dark in here. There you go. People don't know what they want from our midfielder. From this last midfielder that we're going to buy, they don't know what they want from him. I know what I want from them. I want a player who is going to sit alongside Trent, who is going to defend, who is going to do all the dirty work, and is just going to lay it off to him, or lay it off to McAllister, or potentially, if needs be, play a decent pass to Szoboszlai. I don't need Trent Alexander-Arnold 2.0, but with the defensive ability of Casemiro. That doesn't exist. So I'm not after a DM who is, going to be playing all these lines, splitting passes. I'm after one who can retain the ball, can take on a man if needs be, can pass the ball, and is a good defender. A good defender. And that's what I saw from Doucouré yesterday. It wasn't his best game again. I've seen him play much better. Go look at his game against us last season at Selhurst Park. He ran the show. We couldn't get near him. I just look at him and I look at his profile and I go, that's a good fit. At this point, we cannot say if they're worth it or not. We can't say who's worth it or who's not. Ultimately, we're going to have to pay more for any player because every team in world football knows Liverpool Football Club need a defensive-minded midfielder. I still have Doucouré as my number one option. I still stand by Doucouré being the best available option at this point. He's a fantastic defender, 23. Go look at his form at Lens. Go look at his stats at Lens. Go look at his stats last season in a more defensive role. Ultimately, people expected something from Doucouré that was never going to happen yesterday. Crystal Palace, up until the red card, and even for 5 minutes after the red card, had 30% possession. What do you expect from the man when his team is holding the ball for 30% of the game? And that's not even him holding it. That's just the whole team. So that's going to be Anderson, Gahey, Mitchell, Joel Ward, Lerma. All of them got to get their moments on the ball. I don't know what people expected from the man in that game, precisely. He didn't make any major errors. He didn't stand out. That's fine. That is fine. I would love it if we bought Doucouré and he didn't stand out all season, because that would mean he's doing his job right. Because my DM shouldn't have to stand out. My DM should just be there, doing all the dirty work, doing all the unsung work, getting into the other players who get the credit. Doucouré done a job yesterday. That's all I'll say. And I don't agree with the notion that one game should now make him from, oh yeah, I'd pay 60, 70 to I wouldn't even pay 40. You've got to take it in account of everything. Even if we want to go by the season, Sheffield United, he was the best midfielder. I think he was arguably better than Lerma. I think Lerma was better yesterday, but I think in the first game, Doucouré was better than Lerma. So, again, and this all comes down to the fact that I think Doucouré is what we needed as a DM at this point. There are other names that are being mentioned, and I'll touch on them in a minute, but Doucouré for me is the prototypical profile of what we need in our midfield to balance it out, because I'm thinking, once McAllister's back, he's going to go to the right. Once McAllister's back in, then Szoboszlai goes to the left. Then you'll have Trent inverting behind. That is 3 very attack-minded players. I need someone in there to offer the balance who's going to sit there and watch them bomb on and go, I'll stay here. I'll stand right here. I'll defend. I'll cut the passes out. I'll win the duels. I'll do what is needed. And for me, Doucouré is the best option available at those things on this market. It's not my money. I don't care how much you have to spend. I'm looking at profiles. I'm looking at the profile that he brings. And for me, and for what I believe that this football club needs, Doucouré fills all those boxes. Let's get through some comments before we move on to André, though, because I think there's been a lot of news around André today. Big ups. Here we go. Doucouré looked mid against Arsenal, 40 million best. I've explained why I hate that narrative already. Big up Yuvraj. I would take a some win of André now in the summer. Kone or Turan, McAllister, Szoboszlai, Hincapié centre back. I'll touch on Hincapié now because I've been asked this question a bunch of times. Do not expect a move for Hincapié. Do not expect one. I would be very shocked if it happened because Hinchcape's agents are the same agents as the Moises Caicedo one, and the Moises Caicedo agents fucked us over in that transfer. They led us on. They believed that Moises Caicedo wanted to negotiate personal terms with us when he didn't. So I think the club have a lot of bad blood with those agents at the minute, so I don't expect to see a move for Hinchcape anytime soon. Big ups to Din, big ups Anfield lad. If we get Calvin Phillips, I'm going to support Luton Town all season. Forget Liverpool. Big up Mike Das. Big up Tucker. We're incredibly short in midfield, shorter than Lissandro Martinez. I rate that. Big up Gary Richards. Big up Zach. Tommy's on the back of your shirt. Oh, shit with this. There you go. You can see the boy Curtis, who's injured, but he should be back for Newcastle, which is good news for us. Hopefully we don't get Gravenberch. I'll touch on Gravenberch later. Will Gravenberch suit Eric Ten Hag's system more or yours? Somebody prefer Doucouré? Are you on the Doucouré train? He was good last night too. I'm on the Doucouré train, and I don't know about Gravenberch because I've not really paid much attention to him. He's someone that I don't really know about. I've not really tried to get invested into this one because I reckon if it comes down to it, if he becomes available, Ten Hag will just swoop in for him because Ten Hag just has a fetish for all players. Hinchcape or Anasio, neither because not going to happen this window. Big up Steve. Thoughts on the Liverpool game with Bournemouth? Need to win that. They're the type of wins that you need in the season. Gritty, hard fought, dodgy start, got through it in the end. 3-1 win. Szoboszlai was boss. Endo had a decent start. I thought Luis Diaz has proven a lot of doubters wrong, and I'm happy about that because I've been one of his biggest, fans and biggest praises sort of thing. There's just a lot of positives, and I think that Canate, Van Dijk, and Robertson had their best game as a back three. Outside of the window, the club has sucked the life out of me, and I don't think we sign anyone. That is a possibility, City. Inquired about Basuma at Tottenham. I don't think they sell him now. He's had a great start to the season. Thuram or Kone or both, Tom? We've only got one non-homegrown spot left. Kone's going to be cheaper, so I'll go Kone because I think Kone's a more natural fit at 6, and I think that is what we need more so. Big up to SSB. Game versus Newcastle will be tough. Liverpool will certainly take a 1-0 win on goal or penalty. That'll be a good victory, especially where Newcastle are this year. Newcastle are going to be a really tough game, but we have a decent record against them last season, won both. We can hate this Newcastle team. I just think it's going to come down to Jurgen Klopp picks, and if we're able to, get the right midfield out in that game. You have to analyse him against level teams. Looking at him versus Fulham, not an Arsenal. Exactly. He will look better in our team. And then you can judge him against the likes of an Arsenal because our team will be on a more level playing field. Big ups Panaskaus. I thought Doucouré was okay, but we're not going to spend 70 mil on him. He's not worth 70 mil. But you're in a position now where every team is going to overcharge you for the player. So you can't look at how much you're going to pay. You're going to have to look at who's the best fit. The poor guy was just trying to get through the game without getting injured just in case Liverpool come for him. You do want many players possible, but realistically, we just take at least one sign on the last day, being busy transfer for many teams. I think we need them at least one more transfer, minimum 2. I thought it was obvious we need a 6 as our last midfielder. This debate of what we need is silly. It's obviously a 6. The club thinks we don't, which is a bit mad. We can't say Endo wasn't worth 70 mil at this moment. He could turn out to be the bargain of the season. He could be. Ultimately, I'm going by market value because I think that's what everyone's using to judge Doucouré. Endo's market value was 6 mil, and we paid 17 for him. So it's just under 3 times. So, his progressive play is his biggest weakness. So if we get anyone sit very deep, I think Doucouré is a good progressive player. Again, I just think it comes down to the team that he's playing in aren't a very progressive team. Hypothetically, if we're stuck with Endo, how do you feel as he ticks the boxes you mentioned? Underwhelmed is the big one because I've always been of the camp that, by the way, big up Mike. I've always been of the camp that I want my midfield to grow together. So I want Sheck Doucouré, McAllister, Szoboszlai, or Lavia, Szoboszlai, McAllister, or Caicedo, Szoboszlai, McAllister, or Kone, Szoboszlai, McAllister. Any younger player in there because I want them all to grow together. Because if you get Sheck Doucouré and now he's 23, add on top of that 22-year-old Szoboszlai, add on top of that 24-year-old McAllister. That's a midfield that can stick together for 5 years, develop together for 5 years, learn the system for 5 years together. I think you've got a midfield that can play together for 5 years, whilst adding the likes of a Stefan in a role, an André in a role, a Jones in a role, in and around that. That is a very strong setup for the midfield. Ultimately, I'm thinking more, not just for this season, I'm thinking more long term. Jurgen Klopp's here for another 2 years. I want a midfield that can manage the changeover almost. from when we move on from Jurgen Klopp to whoever's next, whether it's a De Zerbi or an Amorim or whoever. Also, congrats on 1K subs. Great achievement. I appreciate that, Mike. Big ups to TAT podcast as well. If you're not already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I do appear on there occasionally when I'm not busy with work. Doucouré role at Palace is different than at Rennes. At Rennes, Doucouré stats were comparable to Caicedo. When Doucouré was at Rennes, or I think it was Lens, or RC Lens, when he was at Lens, he was compared to Chouameni, and Chouameni seems to be the benchmark for what we want. Big ups, Rapodi. Love from Nepal. That is mental. Doucouré ain't worth 70 mil. I prefer us to spend 36 mil, releasing André and have money left to release Inacio's clause as well instead of blowing it all on Doucouré. 85 mil for both. Inacio signing a new deal. Inacio signing a new deal, so he's off the table for one. And André wants to stay with Fluminense. I get the feeling André will want to stay with Fluminense to see out this Copa Libertadores run. So I don't think any of them are going to happen this window, unfortunately. I thought Lerma looked a lot better than Doucouré. I think the game suited Lerma more because it was a more defensive-minded game. I'm looking at Czech. You can't compare Czech Doucouré's role at Palace to what you'd be doing at us. Lavia looks more comfortable than Doucouré. By the way, Tom, Rodri and Rice stand out. Rodri and Rice are the benchmark for a DM in this league. I've been big on Declan Rice for a number of years now. Even when he's been getting a lot of slander, a lot of stick, he's not worth it. You can see the quality Declan Rice has. And Lavia does look more comfortable on the ball than Doucouré, but I also think Czech Doucouré is a better defender than Lavia, and I need a defender in the midfield. Really wanted Alvarez. Alvarez was another name that I was considering, a top defender. FSG out here, you purchased the new kit, Traitor. Ram. If you don't know already, I did not purchase this from the official club store. This cost me £13 from a man called Wu in China. So, big ups the boy Wu for the 13 quid shirt. I would not fund FSG. André for 30 mil. I think we're better off just waiting until January for that one. There's a lot of things you got to consider with the André one that I'll touch on now once I've got through the rest of these. Regardless of who we get, I think the system is the biggest issue. Trying to play possession without having direct outlets or proper structure. I think the structure clicks though once you add a DM. I think right now we look very broken apart because you're playing a system that needs the stability a DM provides. So I think it'll look a lot better once you add that DM. Kone for me makes Liverpool title winners. Fair enough. Gravenberch on a recovery mission for his career, not what is needed. Even with the new DM, I hate possession football for this team. I want to see counter-attack ball. I'm tired of kicking it back to Virgil every 30 seconds. The issue with counter-attacking football is teams don't want to attack us. Or certainly they don't want to attack us to a position where they expose themselves. Counter-attacking football only works when a team exposes themselves to the counter-attack. Bournemouth exposed themselves to the counter-attack because they left 4 up. Chelsea didn't expose themselves to the counter-attack at points because they tried to keep people back. The one time they did, we exposed them, we hit them on the counter-attack. We're going to naturally play possession football because we're the dominant team. The difference will arrive once you add the DM and you can commit more people forwards. Because right now we're playing possession football with a system that doesn't flow as well. Gravenberch is more of a box-to-box player, and from what I've seen, he's got much more offensive qualities than defensive. If we get him and not a DM, we are. I think Gravenberch will be brought in as like one of them utility options, which I don't think makes sense because he wants to leave Bayern because he's being used as a utility option. So Liverpool should drop the pride and sign Conor Gallagher. Absolutely no chance. Is it possible we get Grav now and André and Jan? We better get another midfielder now. It's a must. No more leaving ourselves short. Gravenberch, I don't know. I think André will happen Jan, but Gravenberch, I don't know. I don't really want him either. I don't think Doucouré can do the lone pivot. I'd rather look elsewhere. Ram, you're a smart man. You know we're not playing a lone pivot at this point. We're playing a box. A box doesn't have a lone pivot. When we're defending, unless a team takes ages to attack us, Doucouré will be in a double pivot alongside Trent. And then you've also got to factor in the fact that McAllister is also a lot more defensively minded, so he'll be dropping into help cover. And I think Czech Doucouré actually can do that lone pivot because that was the position he played for Crystal Palace last season where he won Player of the Year. So I think he can do the lone pivot. Big up for Ram, though. If you had to take a guess, do you sign any more players before the window closes? You should do. We should do. Whether we do or not is a different kettle of fish. I don't know though. Big up James Redmond is hot. Question: is Doucouré an 8 or a 6 type role? I think he's both. I think he can do the 8 role, but I think he's better as a 6. But he can do both. Palhinha, if he didn't get injured, I've not been big on Palhinha. I've really not been. He's the funny thing is he's what I think we need for DM in terms of a destroyer. But like I've said, I want someone who's younger. I want someone who can come in and rotate and grow with that midfield. Inacio has a 60 million euro release clause. He only signed a new deal, so they could raise the release clause. Yeah, I agree. That has been my whole stance on it as well. But I don't think he signs the contract and leaves in the same window. I think he'll leave next summer. That's my feel. I think next summer will be a big summer of shake-up at Sporting, because I think that's the summer Amorim could leave as well. I want us to get the deal done for André now and let him join in Jan. Liverpool get an 8 in, and André and Jan. Big up Jamie Phillips. Do you rate Andre's profile or Doucouré's profile more with Sabo and Mac? Doucouré. Do you reckon we need André now or in Jan when Endo goes to play the Asian Cup for Japan? I think we need a DM then. I think you can use Stefan, but it's a really tough one. It's a really, really tough one. Gravenberch, 22 mil, André 30 mil, enough money left for a defender. What defender though? Because you've used up your last non-homegrown spot. This is the thing that needs to be considered, and it's what I'll touch on right at the very end about my whole stance on a defender as well. We don't have options. There's no discussion. There's 9 days, 90 million quid. Sign a centre back and a 6. If only we had a Sporting director with multiple brain cells. If only our Sporting director could negotiate transfers. Tom, the false 9 doesn't work anymore. It's 4 years out of date. I disagree. I think you've got a top false 9. It works like a charm. People are sleeping a lot on Kone. Got linked again today. Won't mind them now and get André and Jan. Just makes perfect sense. Kone plus Kone can play an 8-2. The issue there is both of those players taking up non-homegrown spots. Honestly, the DM market is just bankrupt. The DM market is tight at the minute. It really is. Florentino Luis sounds like the player you want now, because, like I said, I have the profile that I want, but I also have to consider all the other factors, Ram. And the fact of the matter is, Florentino Luis has had a good 6 months in 3 years. He's a gamble. He's a massive gamble. You have to hope that he can finally adapt outside of Benfica. And I would have done Florentino Luis if I had Sheikh Doucouré in right now. If I had Sheikh Doucouré as an insurance option who I know can perform in the Premier League, Florentino Luis, I've got no guarantee he performs in the Prem. And if I gamble my season on Florentino Luis and he performs like he done at Monaco, then we are fucked. I think the signing for Endo has wiped out any possibility of Florentino Luis. Pep back operation, may not coach for weeks. He's back after the international break. It's just 2 games. Good to see you growing, Tommy. 10k subs by Christmas, please. That'll be mad, Stefano, but I appreciate the support, mate. Looks like getting Gravenberch because he's the cheapest in the market. Adrian won't be registered. Then why would you give him the new contract then if you're not going to register him? This is the part of the I think people we don't want Adrian registered, but the logical part of your brain has to understand Adrian is going to be registered, because otherwise they wouldn't have given him the new contract. They would have let Adrian go and get in a homegrown third choice like a Robert Zila. But we didn't. We've stuck by Adrian. So this is the part that I don't think he should be registered. Obviously, he shouldn't be registered. He's shit. But Adrian is going to be registered. Just saying, Stuttgart won 5-0 on top of the league after captain. That's what happened, with us. I am personally okay with Endo, Curtis, Steph if we secure André deal for Jan. Also, I would look at taking Zubimendi, lower price, decent DM player, and apparently appreciated by Xavi. Zubimendi doesn't want to leave. He had an approach early this window from Barca that he rejected because he wants us to do another year at Sociedad. Also, the Endo, Curtis, Steph stuff. Who's starting at DM then? If you're going Endo, Curtis, Steph, who's starting at DM? Like, I just think we're shy of a top DM, and I don't think the market is going to be there for it next year either, because I think the majority of the good ones have moved this summer. Isn't Hayden Hackney an option for the homegrown spot? I've heard a lot of good things about him. He plays for Middlesbrough at the minute, doesn't he? I've heard a lot of good things about him, but I've never actually watched him, so I can't really comment on it. But he is English, so maybe he's like a late gamble that the club consider. What about man like Endo backing up Luis? Again, I think that's a big gamble as well, because Endo, I think Endo can be a really shrewd piece of business, but he is also a risk in himself. 30 years of age. The highest level he's competed at is relegation battles in the Bundesliga. I don't want him to be my insurance option for the season. By the way, what's your thoughts on Moises Caicedo's performance last weekend? Moises Caicedo, I don't. My favorite one is Moises Caicedo. Don't go to ground there, mate. He was crap, weren't he? Thank you, Swan. What's your getting pair of shoes or centre back you want to Ignacio, but it's Klopp on Ignacio. I can touch on the transfer stuff later as well. But let's just touch on this one real quick from Panascals before I move on to André. What if we pay 70 mil for Doucouré on a 5-year contract and he doesn't perform, then we're stuck with him. We won't sign another midfielder. Until he goes, no one buy him for more than his worth, 35 to 40 mil. Then I would say let's look at the other side of things. Jurgen Klopp is one of the best managers in the world for development of players. He will play a lot of football at Liverpool. He has shown no signs that he can't handle the jump up. So it's a gamble, yeah, but it's a gamble we A, have to make, and B, I trust the club to manage correctly. And even if he doesn't work out, I've seen this football club get 27 million for Ryan Brewster and 32 million for Benteke after both of them were wank. We can easily get good money, especially with the Saudis involved, for Sheikh Doucouré if he doesn't work. When's the next Samex Tom Little? 6 p.m. today. But he didn't hear it from me first. All I saw was him slicing the ball. He has 0 tech. Tom, you might mention how many non-homegrown spots left? 1. We have 1 left. Am I taking out Doucouré over anyone who's available? Yes, right now I am. He's still my number 1 option. Bring on Sunday, and they'll be running around like a lost dog trying to get close to Bruno G and Tonali. You have a good midfield, to be fair. You do. Do you think we dodged a nuke with Caicedo? People say he's a player assistant. That's why he was great at Brighton, but apparently will flop at Chelsea. I think he would have worked at us because I don't think we would be playing him in the same way that Chelsea are going to play. I think there's a lot of turmoil at Chelsea that I don't think people are really understanding. But let's touch on André real quickly. Let's touch on André Trindade real quickly. Obviously, today, Red Ben TV done an interview with Emmanuel Luis, I think his name is, detailing the ins and outs of that deal, and the key takeaways from it are that we're willing to go to 30 million right now to try and sign him right now. Fluminense is saying no. If you want him now, you're paying the 40 million release clause. The players agreed personal terms with us, but he's not going to throw his toys out the pram and demand the move because the club believe they can. The club and the player believe they can do well in the Copa Libertadores. You know, they've got the 2 legs of that coming up. They play on Friday, and then the second leg is on deadline day, actually. So there's a lot to think about realistically with it. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I've not watched the lad. I've not watched André Trindade, but he seems statistically like one of those real bargain bars from the South American leagues. And the one thing the fans of this football club have been saying is, let's start tapping into the South American market. I think it's something that if you do it right, you can have a lot of success with. And I think André will be a good start on it. Ultimately, though, there's the idea that we should bring him in now. I saw something today on the matter. André Trindade, because of the way the Brazilian season plays, Trindade already has 3,000 minutes in his legs. He already has 3K minutes in his legs because they play throughout the summer. Our summer, which is their winter. So, with that being the case, he'd do 3K minutes there, then we'd be bringing him in and asking him to do 3K minutes here. He'd be doing 6K minutes in a season. His body would struggle massively with that. So I believe that the best port of call with it is you get him in January because their season ends around November. Then he's got a month off. He can relax. He can acclimatise properly to the team, to the city, all that stuff. It'll be a better fit sort of thing. I think all the logic points are just giving him that month off. Get him in Jan, but give him the month of December off. I think that's the way that it has to be done with him because I don't want another player who we sign and run into the ground very quickly and then you've got to go back into the market 2 years later for him. He seems to be a very technically astute footballer, very good on the ball. Almost like a Thiago in a sense, and I think that he's been earmarked as the Thiago replacement. I've seen a lot of stuff about, we'll sign him to play the 6. I'd be shocked, really. I'd be really shocked if that is who the club are looking at as your big 6 option. Because I look at him and I see a Thiago type player. I see a player who can who has a play style similar to Thiago, and obviously with the Spaniard leaving at the end of the season once his contract's up by the looks of things. I think it makes sense to get his replacement in Jan, give him 6 months to learn off him, all that sort of stuff. It's smart, forward-thinking planning from the football club. So that's the way I see it. That's the way I see it anyway. Who else was there? There was Manu Kone, David Lynch done a piece today for This Is Anfield, talking about how Mönchengladbach have said that they need what was the word? a big offer to consider selling Manu Kone at this stage. Obviously, Manu Kone was someone that we were scouting a lot earlier on in the window, but that seems to dry off once he got his injury in the under-21 Euros. Do I believe? I believe that there's something potentially brewing there, but I think we would have made a move earlier. To be honest, I think we would have made a move a little bit earlier on that front if we were that interested, because the news that his injury wasn't that series came out about 2-3 weeks ago. So I would have thought there'd be something brewing there. So if I had to rank those three for DM, it's Doucouré, it's Kone, it's André. Like that's my priority list of it right now, because I think you need someone who's happy to sit there, whose skill set isn't really on the ball. Andre's skill set is he is a very, very good on the ball footballer. I don't believe that's what we need from our DM. I don't think we need a DM whose USP is how good they are on the ball. I think we need a DM whose USP is tackling, winning the ball back, recycling the ball, all that sort of stuff. And that's what we need more of, rather than someone who's different, who is a deep line playmaker. Because I've said this to Sam so many times when he's talking about Kimmich. I have the same stance with Kimmich. If you sign Kimmich or if you sign André and you put them all together in the midfield with Trent, with Szoboszlai, with McAllister, you've got 4 players who need the ball with one football. It's not going to work very well. Someone's going to be left shy. Someone's going to be forced to rely on a different side of the game, and they'll be getting a lot of criticism for it. I still believe Chef Doucouré is the best option. I still do. I still do. Calvin Phillips, I feel like I'm obligated to talk about Calvin Phillips. That won't happen. If that happens, fucking hell. The only good thing about it is it doesn't take up the last non-homegrown spot. That is the only redeeming quality of that Calvin Phillips move. It wouldn't take up the last non-homegrown spot. But he's injury prone. He's a DM whose best attributes come on the ball. This time, I just don't think it's the right fit. And at 27, from Man City, they're going to try and pull our pants down. It doesn't make sense. I don't believe there's anything really on that front. I really, really don't. Also, just real quickly before I forget it, Manu Kone, the new Borussia Mönchengladbach sporting director, is Jörg Schmack's son. So, Jörg, mate, you've had a bit of a shit window. Get on the phone, get ringing your son, and start telling him that he needs, little family discounts or whatever it is. That's what we need more. So, none of this, no. All the stuff that we're trying to do, no. So, well, I'm forgetting one. Gravenberch, that's the last one I need to talk about. Ryan Gravenberch. So, Ryan. He seems like an option that the club really wants. We reckon we can get him for about 30 mil. He's certainly not a 6. This would be more of an 8, which would then lead to the idea that André is definitely a 6, which is what I don't believe we need. I've not watched again. I didn't watch much of him. Ajax. He's not played enough to watch him at Bayern. There's clearly a player there, but I don't know. I really don't know. It's one that I'll have to be convinced on. I'll be honest. I'll have to be convinced on Ryan. I'll have to have someone who knows more about him tell me about him and show me why he's a good fit. But I just don't think he's what we need. Again, it comes down to I believe we need a different type of midfielder than what it seems the club wants. I believe we need a more defensive-minded one, because I think that's what will make everything stick and glue together. But where were we up to in the comments before I start talking about the centre-back situation? Tom, I think owners like FSU who don't want to spend money should constantly have their eyes on the South American market. Now, I will explain why we haven't had our dealings in the South American market real quickly for those of you who don't know. The South American market operates a lot differently to the British market. There is a lot more third-party ownership in the Brazilian market. I think it's getting reduced now. I think FIFA have stepped in and started trying to work on reducing it. But there is still a lot of third-party ownership in the South American leagues, which is where the club doesn't own the player. The club owns a percent of the player, and agents own the rest of the percent. They are notoriously difficult deals to pull off because the agents normally ask for ridiculous transfer fees, ridiculous agent fees, etc., etc. So the club has steered clear. I believe that if this FIFA ruling comes in and third party ownership is banned from all football, then you'll see us delve a lot more into that market because there's clearly a lot of talent there. We've been linked with a bunch of names from there in the past, but nothing's ever materialised. I think there's something in that. It's hard to see a Mac at 6 unless it's a double pivot. We've got no one else there at the minute. Liverpool have had no encouragement from Bayern Munich. They are willing to do business for Ryan Gravenberch. That doesn't shock me. Should be what FSG said was going to do when said we do the Moneyball. Again, I think I've said this on a space with Sam. Moneyball works to an nth degree. Moneyball, you cannot do Moneyball when you're successful. That's the be all end all the matter. You cannot do Moneyball when you are successful because other teams aren't run by dickheads. That's the best way I can put it. If other teams understand what you're going to do, and therefore, I had an analogy that I said ages ago with it, but basically, Moneyball works because you find value on the market. Once you've been successful on it, other teams realize that you're looking for value on the market. Therefore, the value no longer exists on the market because they will up their price on it. That's basically it. I was going to say it's going to be cream crackers. Cream crackers. Doucouré don't want Gravenberch, but the club want to keep it. Comes to Gravenberch's decision. Big up for Sam's wife. With our current squad, will you still get top 4? I think my expectation still is top 4, but it's again I need a better DM. I think you scrape it at the street. I think a better DM secures it. Is Trent injured for Sunday? Seen came out. Apparently, it was just a kick. He should be all right. He should be all right. I think he may be like Juninho. He was some player named Juninho. I'm just here for the little versus Sam fights. Anyone else? What the ones that he believes he wins all the time, and he doesn't. People in here. Have I lost a fair few to Hassam? Yeah, but I have pride to admit that I do lose some debates. I have pride to admit that I'm wrong at points. But he's also lost some, refused to admit them. People in the comments, how many? Well, if you had to weight the Hassam versus Tom debate win rate, what are you saying? Is it like 50-50, 60-40, 70-30 to who as well? We'll get André and Jan, but don't know. We may get Kone. Kone's a wheel. I think Kone's one that, if anything was going to happen, it'd be very much deadline day. It'd be very much a shock bid goes in for him because it'd be you going in for a last option. Right, I'm going to have to move in real quick. I will get back to these comments, but I can see as I'm scrolling down, it is not my birthday today. It is not. It's not my birthday today. It is not my birthday today. It is not my birthday today. Hassam has blood on his hands for this. He has blood on his hands for this. This is not my birthday today. My birthday is on the 28th of October, not the 22nd of August. So I appreciate the birthday wishes, but it's not my birthday. It's just got to the point where I don't keep moaning about it because I feel like banging me against a fucking brick wall. Anyway, let's get back to the comments real quick. Mainly his sound talking is nonsense. Not going to deny it, am I? Who's your first choice centre back, Tommy, this window or Jan? If I've got to sign someone this window, I'm still big on Adrabayo. You know, I still think if you're after a centre back, left-footed one, it's weird. Left-footed one is weird because I don't think there's many great ones left now. But Adrabayo is still available, 10, 15 million. I know that they want to deal with Tottenham because they're going to get Eric Dyer in the background, you know. I reckon 15 mil for Adrabayo You get a 25-year-old who's got 2 to 3 years of experience in the Prem, who's been a stalwart in a Fulham side that had a really good season last season. All this sort of stuff. I think everything points to Tosin about for 15 million being a really, really good deal. What happened with Thuram? Nice's price was too high, and the player was asking for too much wages, apparently. Big up, Ryan. We are finished, absolutely finished. Glad to see you being positive. By the way, I'm glad we ain't getting Doucouré. He's not that great. Here we go. There we go. There we go. I still stand by Doucouré being the best option available. Apparently, I've been told not by Lynch Doucouré is one to look out for. Just get him in. Ozan seeing. Is this about Yusuf Fofana? Get Coney left centre back with André coming in Jan. I'll be okay with that. Here's what I'm going to say to you, and he's not going to like it. He's not going to like it, but it's the truth of the matter. I'm not expecting us to buy a left centre back this window. I'm not. I thought we would do it at the start, but I had an epiphany midway through pre-season. People didn't like it. People got on at me, but I am right. I am right. Jurgen Klopp sees Andy Robertson as the best player for that role because he wants Andy Robertson to do what he's been doing, which is what we've been criticising him for. Jurgen Klopp wants Robertson to bomb on. Jurgen Klopp wants Robertson to be an attacking threat, even though he's the left centre-back. Jurgen Klopp, for that to happen, he's an actual DM, which is why the DM is the most important piece. The DM is the most important piece to it. Jurgen Klopp is not going to drop Robertson because he believes that Robertson is the perfect player for that role's instructions. Whether we like it or not, logic prevails, actions speak louder than words, and Andy Robertson started every single preseason game in that role, bombing forwards. He wouldn't do that. He wouldn't continue to play if he was deliberately ignoring instructions. Tom Kimmich should be fine, don't worry. It's not that Kimmich wouldn't be good. I think we're not going to. It's not going to happen anyway because he's too expensive. But I don't want to buy a player to not use them for the best role. And also, like I said, I want a player who can grow with this midfield, who can grow with this core unit. Cancel the club if it goes to. I assume that's about Calvin Phillips. Do you think Max Rodcalbio? What? Do you think McAllister's red card will be overturned? Probably not. I think it should be, but it probably won't be because that would involve the PGMOL swallowing the pride, and they don't do that. We'd be better off without a DM than with Calvin. Tomic Tram Transfer Committee would be hilarious. Literally no deals would get done. We don't agree on anything, do we? We don't agree on anything. But Sam said he doesn't want relegated players in his team, yet he was screaming for Lavia. That's a Sam for you. That's a Sam for you. It's down to Gravenberch if he wants to leave. We have a DM and ender, but need one more. I think the argument that I've seen about Stefan can play there. Did we watch the same Stefan last year? I adore Stefan Bajcetic. I think he's a fantastic product with the potential to be one of the best midfielders around. But the man is not ready to be a sixth for the Premier League side that has aspirations of winning the league. He's not. He's just not. Whether we like it or not, he's not. He's not built for it. He's built like me. He's built like a fucking twig. That's not going to last when KDB starts getting ahead of steam and bullying people off the ball. That's not going to last when the likes of Casemiro start flying through. That's not going to last when Declan Rice builds up ahead of steam and has the body to outmuscle you. It's not going to happen. You need someone who's more experienced. Let Bajcetic play in the Europa. Let Bajcetic play as an 8 to further his physical development. And then in a couple of years' time, then he can play in the 6. André did a replacement for Thiago. If we can get through the season using Endo, Bajcetic, Thiago, Jones, André, Mack in the 6. Then come next summer, we can buy a much better DM than Doucouré at the same price. Like who? All the good DMs are off the market now. They're not going to be on the market next year. Declan Rice, off the market. Tchouameni, going to be off the market. Caicedo, going to be off the market. So who's left? Who's left? This is the situation you get yourself in. There are no good DMs left. All the DM market was good to start this window off with. You had a lot of good DMs available. They've all now moved on. So the DM market is going to be locked off for the next year or two. The only good one left will be Doucouré, whether we like it or not. Me and my dad just spoke about it. The Mexican market is happening. Could have gems available. Again, I think I don't watch South American football, but it comes down to these non-homegrown spots that we've got. Gravenberch is very unlikely anyways. Neil Jones just said they've had no encouragement from Bayern that they would negotiate, so I only hope it's André now. I'm still believing about Sheck, I'm still believing about Sheck. People want the South American players, but if we get André, we'll complain as he's inexperienced enough. Let's just get Ragnick. If we get him, I'm okay. We're not making any more transfers to some extent. At least we've got a constant sporting director who'll bring us gems and favours on a long term. Right, first things first, Ralph Rangnick is the Austrian national team manager. Why would he throw that away to work as a director of football for Liverpool? You want your director of football? Tim Steedman from West Ham. Hope that David Moyes has pissed him off enough and go in and get him. He's the best option. Moneyball is 100% possible when you're at the top buying 40 to 50 mil players every window is what's needed to keep winning trophies, and we've not been doing that, hence why we were in this position right now. The 40 to 50 million players, though, don't cost 40 to 50 million players when a team that is successful comes in for them. They don't. They don't, because it's using the logic behind it of... I'm going to give you an analogy here. I have a shop. I have a little marketplace stall. And I sell fucking shirts. I sell shirts. And this fella comes around. And he buys from all these other ones. And he buys the shirts, cheap shirts, but he makes them look really good. He fixes them up. They look amazing. And he's able to sell them on for more money. Then he comes to me. And I've seen what he's done for the past 2 years, buying the cheap ones, selling them for more money, being successful with it. I then see him arrive to me and try and buy my shit. I'm going to up my price because I want to make as much money as possible before he makes the money. I'm trying to maximize my income from it. That's what happens in Moneyball. Football clubs aren't stupid. If we have success in Moneyball for 3 to 4 years, once we're at the top, teams are going to charge us the top money for them because they know what we can do, what we're seeing, what we're trying to achieve. What's it? 50-50, 84% Hassan wins, 16% Tom wins. Tom, I have you winning debates against Hassan 80-20. I've been told Doucouré is an African. Great news. It's disappointing news. I still think it's odd that Tom hasn't aged a single day in 8 years. All of the mini mustaches help prove my case wrong. I can't lie, Rob was excellent against Bournemouth and in the second half away to Chelsea. Andy Robertson can still do a job. That's why I never agree with the sentiment that he was washed, he was finished, he was done. Andy Robertson can still do a job for this football club. 100% he can. Tom's age looks like it has been spread for 9 years. That was actually pretty good, If you want Drogba to bomb on abort the inverted right back, it works though. What this team needs, if you want Robertson to bomb on, you can still invert your right back. You just have to have a reliable defensive DM. You have to. Someone who's not going to be trying to go forwards, who's going to be able to actually stop attacks when they start. That is what is needed. I think we're done for this window. Endo was a Caicedo Lavia replacements. It's a crap replacement then. Whether we like it or not, it's just a severe drop in quality in replacements. We need 2 more songs this window, even if one is for André and Jan. Fans were saying that the Caicedo bid was a PR stunt, so idiots. How was a £110 million bid a PR stunt? Fact is, the money they'd spent is on clock for the positions neglected now. Sam adoring Lavia is understandable since in a shit Southampton Lavia stood out. Plus, on Lavia transfer, you were paying for the potential in the ceiling, which is appreciated by Pep as well. Lavia is a player with fantastic potential. But Sheck Doucouré also has potential. Sheck Doucouré is also more ready-made right now. Is he more expensive? Yes, but he's more expensive because of the situation we're in. If Lavia was on the market, let's say Chelsea had bought Doucouré and Caicedo instead, and we were now turning to Lavia. You tell me Southampton wouldn't be asking 65? They got 60 for him. They'd be up on the price when they know we've got 110. You're in the same situation. You end up in the same situation. Conan's played a 64. Things change in the space of 12 months. I really want Rangnick as a sporting director. His talent ID is elite. Rangnick will come to us. I disagree. I don't think he would. I don't get why he would leave an international job to come be sporting director for us under a manager who has managed to fuck up with the last 3 sporting directors in 12 months. City fan here, please take Calvin Phillips. I will drive him to Anfield myself for 2 million. No, I'm all right, you know. Tom, I'd rather have not aged for 12 years and someone say you look 30. Hi, Tom. Are we not getting anyone? We'll wait for Jan. We'll wait for André and Jan. I think that's a dangerous game. Imagine Endo helps us with the B plus version of the treble. And if we're going to have success this season, Endo is going to have to play a part in that. He's going to have to, whether we like it or not. I don't see us signing anyone else. The summer disaster season incoming. Doucouré is mid. Yeah, you know, fine. Right? I clearly can't convince you. So yeah, except the core is mid. Even though I disagree. I think there's a lot to work with there. I think I've touched on everything. Though. I don't think there's anything else to say. Anything else to talk about? Is there? Anyone got any questions or anything? Because I think I've discussed everything I wanted to talk about. The midfield situation. Yeah, I think I've nailed all that. You know, I think I've actually absolutely nailed that. Remember Endo is going to the Asian Cup in Feb with Japan. Is he though? 'Cause I saw something about Japan don't normally send the full squad, so that they send a lot of youngsters. So maybe we'll do, maybe we won't do. Too many ain't coming, by the way, to all the dreamers out there. That yeah, he probably won't do. Gravenberch is built like a 6, but doesn't have the brain for it. I think he's too attack minded from what I've seen. Rangnick has a great relationship with Klopp. Klopp respects him massively. Klopp respected Michael Edwards massively and then fucked it up when his pride got in the way. Hey, do you think Gravenberch can be our next genie that we haven't replaced? Everyone has given up on this boy. Klopp will get the best out of Gravenberch like he did with any other player. It's a weird one, isn't it? I don't know. I don't know about Gravenberch because I haven't watched him. When's the next gaming stream? God knows. Can Liverpool sign talent like that and contract the never age? Why is Klopp taking Szoboszlai off corners? It was one game, wasn't it? Like he was on them for Chelsea and he wasn't on them for Bournemouth. But I thought Robertson's corner was actually alright against Bournemouth. You know, I hope he got. I don't think it's a permanent one though. I think Szoboszlai will get back on them. And I refuse to give. I refuse to give him a dream too many. Delusion. Red card. The McAllister one isn't, but I don't think they'll get overturned. I don't think we go for the core. It'll be André and Gravenberch, and then the rest of the money maybe a centre back. We'll see. Time will tell. I don't see Gravenberch happening personally. I just don't think Bayern are going to sell him. I think if Bayern wanted to sell him, they'd have sold him by now. It makes me sick when I see Trent and Robbo taking corners now. Szoboszlai's boss at them, but there are situations. I think we wanted more outswingers against Bournemouth, and Szoboszlai doesn't do that. It's on the left, so that's why Robertson took them. Will you be buying any of the new GK kit? I've got one already, haven't I? I've got the home one, the green one, which is boss. Are we in the league? No. What business do you actually think gets done now? My heart says Doucouré, my head says André pre-deal, and that's it. Endo is Japanese captain. What do I think the score will be on Sunday? 2-1 us. McAllister for penalties, Sabo on free kicks, and Trent on corners. Salah's going to remain on penalties because you best believe he's not giving them up. I think Sabo and Trent should rotate on the free kicks, and I think Sabo should be on corners with Trent and Robbo as the backups. Will I start Nunes against Newcastle? I think it's something that has to be really considered. Yeah, he had a good game against them last year at the ground. A bit relevant to the DM talk, apparently John O'Sullivan said that Klopp for FSG is the same shield as Wenger for the Arsenal owners. If it is indeed true, how does it make you feel about Klopp? I know that Jurgen Klopp does that. Jurgen Klopp does that because Jurgen Klopp and FSG is a marriage made in hell for us because they enable the worst parts of each other. Ultimately, maybe he is, maybe he isn't. It comes down to what you perceive has happened between the club and how and how his role has changed, because I believe that his role has changed massively since he signed that new contract at the back end of the quad season. Massively changed. So, yeah. Endo is a utility player at the centre back signing combo with a 6. Get another midfielder with André on and Jam. That's transfer business for a long time. Don't see how Endo can be transfer business for a long time, though. Football London said we had a €30 million bid for shares rejected. Don't know if it's Codswell. First off, I haven't heard Codswell in ages. And the second of all, I don't believe Football London has Liverpool sources. I'd say Kone is more likely than Gravenberch now. When will you have panel streams? At some point. Tom, do you think Liverpool is now a bit cautious with their dealing because they don't want to be embarrassed again after Lavia and Caicedo debacle? They're going to be embarrassed anyway. So you got to accept that. Favorite GNM? Paul Joyce, the most reliable one, but David Lynch. I have a lot of respect for David Lynch as a journalist. Trent for short range free kicks, Sobbo for long range ones because of shooting ability and strength. Corners may rotate. Who do you think should step up more this season, Lucho or Darwin? I think Diaz is going to have a blinder season. I think we need Darwin to have an improved season. I just think Diaz is going to smash it this year. I think everything points to him being a real success. He's kicked on again. And there was a lot of... I've been big on defending him because there was a lot of disrespect, I believed, in the summer towards him. About how he's got no end product, he's crap, he should sell him for 80 million. And, you know, Luis Diaz is an exceptional footballer, and he's exactly what his football club needs on that left-hand side. Let's see you back in your own space. Deep, how many centre-back starts he's had at centre-back for Stuttgart? I think he's played more as a centre-back, hasn't he? The money's there to spend. The Caicedo bid show that position neglected now on Klopp. Tom, who do you trust more as an LSC source? Neil Jones or Dave OCKOB? Neil Jones, I think. Neil Jones. But it is... We've been live for almost an hour. I'm going to have to call it there. I need to shoot. If you're new, you're not already done, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any more content. I'm going to love you, leave you. Up the Reds. Hopefully we get a signing in. I'll be live again tomorrow at some point. I'm crap at ending streams. In a bit, lads. Ta-da, ta-da, ta-ra.